stereo misguided or any of those kind of stuff. And that was something that attracted me towards it. I think it was reverse psychology that worked with me, although I'm sure none of them actually tried to do it in that way. I think it was maybe a year or 2 ago, 2 years ago in Muharram, we were all sitting down, the friends were sitting down, and one of my friends who's really, really, really spiritual, especially in terms of Muharram, he kind of sat down, he told us about all his emotions that happened, especially on the night of Ashura and stuff, and I never really understood it. So we kind of asked him to tell us the story, and he did, and he explained it in, not, obviously at the time it was brief, but it was more than I ever knew. So it was the first time that I heard about, the intercepted journey to Kufa. It was the first time I heard about, the children screaming in tents, the burning of the tents, the thirst, Abbas and his severed hands. All of these things were just new to me. Even Yazid and Muawiyah and the conflict with the Prophet's family, it was all new to me. And I was just thinking, like, why don't I know this as a Muslim of 20 years? And so that poked me to do a bit more research, and I started reading books. If I can't find books, then I find them online. If I can't do that, then I listen to lectures. When I listen to lectures, I note down anything that I need to research more on, do that, come back to the lectures, understand everything. So it just a whole year of kind of research into this. And yeah, so I guess when I saw everything for myself, I couldn't really deny it, and I understood that was kind of, my intention was never to convert as such. It was just to understand, and that's why I kind of say I stumbled upon the path of Ahlul Bayt. Like, it was an accidental thing, but it was the best thing that happened to me. Everything started making sense. I couldn't deny any of the things that were taught to me. People sometimes say, oh, she's been brainwashed, she's around a lot of Shias. No one has ever spoken to me about it. Like, I can't stress that enough. No one's ever tried to enforce it on me. It was just purely out of my own research, Some hadith seemed a bit, like, exaggerated to me, but when I looked into it, they do exist. And most of them are in Sunni Sahih books, which is really important to understand. Like, when someone asks you to prove something and you give them your own book, it doesn't really mean much, because it's your own book. But if you prove it through their own works, then that gives it a bit more ground, and that's what kind of interested me a lot. The first thing I've experienced in terms of, Shia traditions or the way of life was I can't remember how many years ago, but it's quite a long time ago. And my friends kind of invited me to a lecture in a hall during the time of Muharram. And I never knew what it was. I just knew that, during this time they go to a lot of lectures in their own mosques or whatever. So I went there and I was a bit nervous, but that kind of point of my life was really interesting because it kind of highlighted my own ignorance for me. So we were sitting in the lecture, and the lecture was reasonable, it was really good. It could be understood by anyone, regardless of Muslim or not. It wasn't really, anything that at the time I've heard of the Shia. It wasn't anything fanatical or anything. So I was listening to the lecture and I was thinking, yeah, this is not bad. And then suddenly the imam or the speaker was replaced by someone who came and started doing some sort of singing to me what it was. And obviously I've never actually heard of that kind of singing before, eulogies or latmiyas. And it just sounded really beautiful to me, but I didn't know what it was, but the voice and the words and everything was beautiful. And then everyone's kind of stood up and they started tapping their chest, like just in slow motion. Like, it wasn't nothing extreme, nothing fanatical, but obviously me, because I've never actually seen this before, I've never experienced it before, it was completely new to me. Even though it was in no way intimidating, I was intimidated by it. And that was because I wasn't familiar with it. So it was fear of the unknown, which is something that over the past year I've realized is kind of the core reason for the division in the ummah. So because of because people fear the idea of the Shia, you know, the whole concept of Shia, they don't want to look into it. They're intimidated by it. So that was for me, I wouldn't say a turning point. I mean, then it wasn't a turning point, but looking back now, I kind of see my own ignorance. As I said, I came from a Sunni family. Everyone in Yemen, well, the majority of Yemenis are Sunnis, but in the culture that I was living in and stuff, we never really knew about Shia. Like, I went to Yemen 2 years ago and I was talking to my cousin about it. She's like, what's Shia? To that extent. So obviously when I came here, I was a bit surprised to see there were other types of Muslims and stuff. So, and I never really, I knew they were there. I never approached them or spoke about it. So I didn't feel the need to kind of inquire or anything. It wasn't interesting to me. I just knew that they were Muslims and whatever. Obviously, I've heard of misconceptions, you know, all of these crazy stories that I found to be completely false and fabricated. So, but I never actually, I can't say I felt any sort of hatred or prejudice against the Shias even before. The main book that kind of sealed the deal for me was Then I Was Guided. And a lot of people say that when I'm talking about Shia and stuff, because that book kind of showed me how to prove the Shia beliefs through Sunni methods, through Sunni resources. And that, like, when I read that, I literally read it in a day. Like, that's how into it I was. And I was like, that's it, like, you can't deny it. Like, it's not like these hadith are, you know, coming out of nowhere. They're coming out of Sahih books. So that for me was like the main kind of thing. Other than that, I was on like Islamic sites online. And obviously, I would go to Shia websites as opposed to, you know, people who hate the Shia websites. I remember once on Twitter, I must have said something and someone replied to me and said, "Sister, you're misguided," gave me a link. And I clicked on the link and the website was called shiabs.com, and we know what BS stands for. So I was thinking, like, if you want to approach people, do not do it in a way that will send them running away from you. So, you know, there's ways to approach people. And it's just people like that, when they come, they tell me something about someone and they give you a link from someone that hates that someone. It's just like that to me. I'm like, that's not credible for me. So I had to go through, you know, to the source of it and find the information from there. And when I did, it kind of made sense to me. My friend recommended this book, and then I saw her and she gave it to me. And then I read it and I started, like, because of the Sayyid's use of, like, a hadith that came from Sunni books, it got me really into it. I was like, if these hadith are in Sunni books, then why have they been overlooked? So I just sat there reading the whole day. I literally blocked out the whole world, my family, everyone, and I just sat there reading. It didn't take as long as I expected. And it just kind of, everything made so much sense. To me, this was a kind of, it was all based on logic rather than emotion, you know. I could be arrogant about it and say, you know, I could be arrogant and proud and say that, okay, I've read this and I know it's true, but I'm not going to do it because I can't say that I was wrong this all my life. But like when you're searching for the truth, you have to let go of pride and arrogance, and you have to accept the truth, even if it's swimming against the tides of, you know, social conformity or family traditions or anything. I kind of read it. I mean, I can't say I convert. Firstly, I don't like that word, converted, because, you know, I'm still a Muslim and I wasn't Muslim. But it's just a thing of that kind of pushed me deeper into it. So I didn't stop researching. I haven't stopped researching till now. And the day I converted, as you say, was the day I knew this was the right thing for me. It wasn't the same day I read the book, but it was a few months after. I was like, this is it. This is for me. And then I was actually doing a skydive on the same day. So I kind of, instead of screaming down 10,000 feet, I kind of pledged allegiance, and then I shouted the names of all the holy names as I was, like, falling from the sky. And that was the day, I think, it just changed my life. No, I don't believe I was chosen to be guided. I strongly believe that those who want to be guided will be guided. You know, it's not a thing where Allah chooses one person and says no to the other. That doesn't make sense. You know, on the day of judgment, you can just say, well, you didn't choose me to be guided. So it's 100% an individual thing, and I think we have to, no matter how much it might hurt our pride, read into it. No matter how much it might kill you inside to do it, you have to do it. It's ignorance. Every single time of ignorance will be questioned as well on the day of judgment, and you know, time is ticking. No one can really say it's changed how I am with them. Like, my friends can't say, oh, she's a Shia now. Like, nothing's changed between me and my friends and stuff. But internally, it has changed me. Like, for example, now I understand the world a bit more. You know, it might sound crazy, but I think politics and religion are very closely combined, can be combined. And because I understood religion, I now understand the politics of today. So I think Islamic history is pivotal in understanding 21st century Islam. I strongly believe, you can call me crazy for this, but you know, the army of Yazid and you know, the enemies of the Prophet are still working today, are still propagating today. Yeah, over the past few months, I've noticed that I have no more motivation to write about politics as I did before. Now it's mostly about personal kind of experiences, and Ahlul Bayt as well. I've written a few on that. But I haven't actually pushed them out as much because I feel a bit nervous to do so. Firstly, that again, I'm kind of conscious that will they live up to, you know, those kind of standards. Also, I don't want people to see me as a Shia Muslim. You know, I want them to see me as a Muslim before Shia. So I think if I was to put up a bit more Shia-fied like poems, people might kind of switch off, and I don't want them to switch off as Shia. I want to go around it, you know, from the back way, and then kind of. One of the main things that pulled me in a bit deeper was the hadith of the two weighty things, which clearly states that the two weighty things are the Quran and the Ahlul Bayt, and you know, this is mentioned in Sahih books as well. So for me, I was just thinking, if you're demanded to follow the Quran and the Ahlul Bayt, why else would there be any need for anything else? Like, why would I need to go to someone else or another companion? You know, as righteous as they may be or anything, I was told to go through the Quran and the Ahlul Bayt, and that's what I'm doing now. What I hope to do in the future is hopefully, firstly, become a voice of the oppressed. You know, whether that happens through my poetry or through my journalism work, it will happen, inshallah. I hope to kind of shed light on a few of the oppressions that we as Muslims face, you know, both here and all the people struggling in the third world, as they call it. You know, after finding out the story of Karbala and stuff, I kind of have no choice but to stand up against injustice, and that's what I hope to do. With every tick of the clock, our lifetimes separate. Oh, tears of sorrow to him rise, evaporate. Speak to him of broken smiles, take me to him, levitate. Tears still my words, listen to them paraphrase. Tears still my words, listen to them paraphrase. Why did you leave? Oh, rainfall, don't add to this surrounding puddle. I'm drowning in my tears, and these tears, oh how subtle they're, able to crush humans, transform us into rubble. I'm retracing your tracks, unable I fall and stumble. Where are you? The eyes swell at the glimpse of your image. Once the story starts, the tears never finish. Absence destroys the heart and the soul is diminished. Your absence destroyed this heart and this soul is diminished. When will you return? When will you return? When will you return?